afternoon, everybody. Good evening. Afternoon. It's late evening. Thank you guys for coming. I can think, standing up here, of probably 1,527 different things that we could all probably be doing tonight. But you're here, and that says a lot about each one of you guys and your character. We're glad that you're here. We're excited to get your feedback. I will make a plug. Early voting started yesterday. I don't care who you vote for, just go vote. At this point, I'm not really even worried if you vote for me because I'm running unopposed and I voted for myself. So if I lose, I'm pretty sure. So thank you all for coming. Don't forget to go vote. With that, I'm going to introduce Mr. Alex Smith. He's a community planner for the Northwest Georgia Regional Commission, where he's been employed since 2019. He graduated from the University of Georgia's College of Environment and Design in 2018. He earned a master's degree in environmental planning and design and grew up in northeast Georgia in Stevens County. Previous places of employment are the University of Georgia's Geography Department and Smith Land Surveying Company. Alex has completed other comprehensive plans in the Northwest Georgia region, including Walker and Dade County's plans. He serves as a facilitator in the comprehensive planning process for the Pickens, Jasper, Nelson, and Talking Rock Joint Comprehensive Plan. The completion of this plan and its approval by the Georgia Department of Community Affairs will maintain each local government's qualified local government status. This will allow them to be eligible for grants and loans from the state of Georgia and the Appalachian Regional Commission. So with that, Mr. Smith, I will turn it over to you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Oh, yes, sir.
Good evening, everybody. I thank you all for this opportunity to speak. Good crowd, very impressive. So I'm glad to see this turnout. It's very, very positive. Just to kind of give some background information about this process, like Josh mentioned, this is part of a process, and this process was introduced in 1989 as part of the Georgia Planning Act. And what the act said was that it's in the state's best interest and the local governments and the local citizens' best interest to go through the process of doing comprehensive plans for the future. Now, originally the comprehensive plan had a period of like 20 years, and over time they've reduced it down to a 10-year plan with a 5-year update. And that's where we are now. We're at the 5-year update. So what we're doing is we're modifying the current plan, and we're trying to take into account everybody's considerations and what is important for Pickens, Jasper, Nelson, and Talking Rock. And with that, let me advance the slide. Let's see what I got. This just kind of reiterates what I've already said. The 1989 Georgia Planning Act stated that comprehensive planning is an action that's in the best interest of local government, state government, and public. It does maintain qualified local government status, and it is tied to certain grants and loans. So just in front of you, I handed out an agenda, and on the back side of it is another sheet of paper that has deadlines and due dates. So as you can see on paper, the due date is for this plan is June 30th, 2022. Now, what that means is the plan has to be approved by that point. There's a process in which I'm facilitating the process. I write the plans on behalf of the local governments. They review the plans, and if they accept the plans, then we send it off to the DCA for their approval. And so we've already had our initial public meeting where we announced to the public that we're beginning this process. As part of this process, we have a group of stakeholders, which are you, which is representatives of local governments, or of their local governments. Both citizens and elected officials can serve. So if you're looking at your list, there's on there certain required elements. there's a requirement for community goals. Let me see if I can grab one of these papers so I'm not looking back. Okay, so the plan by state of Georgia requires certain elements: community goals, needs and opportunities, land use elements, broadband element, community work program, report of accomplishment. There's other optional elements that may be considered, like an economic development element. It says tax credit tier 4, that's meant to be tax credit tier 1, so it's required if you're a tier 1. Housing element, transportation element, all of this can be added to your plan if needed. But the required elements are community goals, needs and opportunities, land use, broadband, and community work program, and report of accomplishment. We've already had our first public meeting. Our plan is to have a draft ready by March. Then it's followed by a second public hearing. And local governments prepare a transmittal letter. Then the Regional Commission notifies any other interest party. We review it, and then DCA reviews the paperwork for compliance and prepares a finding, recommendations, and then that's followed by adoption of a resolution that the plan has been completed. And that will be each of your local governments. And so, let me advance the slide real quick before I ask. Oh, okay. So, here's what we're doing tonight. First of all, is there any questions before I go through this next step? I'll take that as a good sign. So, what we're doing tonight is what is referred to as a strength, weakness, and opportunity and threats analysis. And so, you may ask yourself, why do we need to do this? And why we need to do this is for public input. So, as part of the comprehensive plan, public input is vital to its success. And so the way we do that is through a public survey. And we need a method of receiving information to come up with these survey questions. And the way we do this is we get each local government and their representatives to write down a list of strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So strengths are, actually, let me back to slide one more. This may help. Let's see. Okay. So, to break it down easily. So, if you look on the left side, you have a good category, which is your strengths and opportunities. Your bad categories is weaknesses and threats. So, strengths are your current conditions. It's what makes your community special. It's what you are the proudest of, what resources that your community has that you benefit from. Opportunities are, even though it's, well, let me go in the opposite direction. Where strengths are the good things, weaknesses are, of course, your bad things. So that is also current conditions. Where can your community improve? What improvements could you see in your community that you wish for your future, considering that this plan is part of a comprehensive plan update? Then you have your opportunities, which is in the good category. So these are the things you want to see in the future. So where strengths are present, opportunities are your future needs and desires. What opportunities are there to improve your community? A counter argument or a detriment is what threats you see for your future. So what are the bad things out there that you're concerned about for your future? Future of Pickens, Jasper, Nelson, and Talton Rock. And what we do is we take all this information and so what we do, oh, okay. So what we do is we take this information, I'll take it back to the office, and I'll consolidate it. How we're going to collect this information is I've got posters. And these posters, each government has a poster. And the poster is broken up into 4 quadrants: strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. How we've been doing this process is we allow each government to come to their poster and for a period of time write out in each quadrant strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And then once some time has elapsed, what we do next is we ask each government just to advance around the ring and place sticky dots. There's sticky dots here on the table. They're different color. It doesn't matter. Any statement you agree with for your government, or you see just holistic, place a sticky dot next to it. That way we know we can prioritize what's important to your local government and comprehensively for Pickens, Jasper, Nelson, Tuckahoe. So we also can understand the emphasis we need to put in certain categories as we write the plans. We also can define the tone and tenor of the plan. And what we do is we take this information and we create a public survey. Now the public survey will have both a paper copy and a digital copy. The digital copy will be smartphone, will be appropriate for smartphone use, computer use. And then the paper copies, we can discuss later methods to get that out to the public. Trying to think, let's see. Length, how long the survey will be out. So right now we're hitting the holiday season. Usually we run the survey for about a month. What I'm going to do is I'm going to keep an eye on how the response rate is going over time. Supposedly nobody's going to be taking this survey twice. I'm not saying that it's not possible. People from other governments could, but we don't see that. But we'll run that, we receive statistics, and we're able to include that into our comprehensive plan. So we're trying to get public input as part of the process, and that's how we do it. We get each government to write, and I come up with survey questions. Usually what I do then is I have another meeting where we will discuss those survey questions and see if you feel like they're adequate. Now, for our next meeting, I'm not really certain where to schedule it right now because we're coming up on the holiday season. We'll discuss that after we go through this exercise. But what I'd like to ask y'all to do is just each local government representative, just find your poster, take some time, write down your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And if you have other things you'd like to discuss with me, I'm always available. I've got business cards. I'm also going to be here after the plan. We can have a discussion after we go through this process. But are there any questions? Is there any questions that anybody may have?
Alex, do you have that form? Remember when you came and spoke to me and you showed me the comprehensive plan we had before for the town of Talking Rock? Do you have that?
I think last time I gave you...
You showed me the last one. Remember?
I do not, but I will distribute it through email. I don't
Because
have
I'm
a
not
hard
just shooting
copy.
on the fly. This is my interpretation of what I think the SWOT is at this point, or am I utilizing what you had showed me previously?
So, good question. So you don't have to utilize what was previous.
Okay, all right. Cool.
So this is just your perception.
Yes, sir.
As you see for your community.
Yeah.
So, you know, you can use previous experience to inform you or just, you know, whatever comes to mind.
Thank you, sir.
Further questions?
Can we spread those out so we can put each one of our committees kind of around one table?
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay.
Yeah, we can do that. Is there anybody else? Any questions? Go ahead and ask. Okay, so we'll begin the process. This survey, I've got to get it together a little bit quicker because we're going through the holiday break. So I need to try to figure out the best way to distribute the survey and let y'all review it. And I will do that as soon as I get back to the office and think about it. But the next meeting, November 15th, will that work with everybody's schedule? Okay. And we'll just make it for 6 o'clock, like we did this time. If you need anything, if you have any concerns or questions, you have my email address. And,
We got a huge public safety city in.
yeah.
November the 15th, I don't think that's going to work for
Okay.
most stakeholders.
Okay. Let me ask another question. Is there another location we can have these meetings? The reason I want to move on the survey is because we're coming up on the holiday season. And so, you know, that's a consideration, because I can put the survey out and it's going to slow down. And then I can probably pick up the pace and then it's going to slow down again, the response rate. So, with the holidays in there. So, the first,
We're good with first.
okay.
November 1st,
Okay, what's the location?
Chattahoochee Tech. We
Chattahoochee
gotta
Tech.
confirm that and put the room.
Okay. All right.
We'll confirm that this week and I'll be
Okay.
done.
Okay, all right. So I'm gonna pencil in at that time, okay? Okay. Well, with that, is there any questions, anything you'd like me to go over?
No, thank you.
You're welcome.